Previously, on Hellchaser, I've finally done it. I have all 6 keys, there should be 7, but there isn't. Pride's dungeon was insane. He had skeletal demons, him himself could teleport, created a large variety of attacks, and he hit hard. Just punched me, I go flying. And I talked to Castile about it, but now he's, well, said if I get anywhere near the cage, he'll stand in my way. So, here we are now. Let's get right onto it. Anyways, I leave basically the soldiers and the demons to hold down the fort. Believe it or not, they like me more than Castiel. So basically, they're just like preparing themselves for war. They're also arguing about what the best strategy is. Which, you know what, I'm not a strategist. I'm just gonna let them argue it out for a little bit. I'm just gonna head over to the cage. Anyways, before I go, I have to drink Pride's blood. Yay! I don't like this. Pride was an interesting character to say the least, but you know what? You gotta do what you gotta do. I proceed to drink Pride's blood. And at first, nothing. I feel different, but I don't like pass out, I don't vomit, I don't do anything. I guess I finally built up resistance to the sins of blood, maybe? I don't know. Anyways, Pride's blood made me... It didn't really change my personality. It didn't really, like, change my looks. It didn't make me more convincing or anything. It was just raw power. Which I think that's why it didn't make me vomit. It didn't really change me, it just gave me something, I guess. Anyways, I can now teleport. And do, like, a weird mix thing with my dash. It, like, upgraded my dash. I can now kind of, like, phase through attacks now. It upgraded all the previous abilities I had. My fireballs now do twice as much damage. It can now, like, pull in, like, enemies' weapons. So, you know, that's going to be helpful. You know, it's going to be a lot harder for things to throw things at me if they don't have the things to throw. It's genius. I don't really know what it did to my, my control ability. It's nothing, I guess. That's not the point. It increased all my stats. It made me faster, stronger, stronger, and it gave me the ability to teleport as a bonus. I can't complain, honestly. How I begin to make my way towards the cage. And I ran into some demons on the way, and they were different. They were, like, supercharged. Kind of like how I was with Pride's Blood. They were faster, stronger, smarter. Pyros were able to, like, blast themselves around using fire and, like, get themselves in the air, then to shoot more attacks. There was this weird orange glow in their eyes. They looked... I don't know what I'm looking for here. Not necessarily demonic, but kind of angel-like. It was weird. First I thought maybe Castiel did it, but... Castiel's strong, but he's not that strong. Anyways, they weren't hard to take down, per se. They were more of the usual stuff, except amplified and have new abilities. Example, the snake people can now, like, chuck scales at me when I take away their their weird bows or mace, whatever they prefer to use. Then the axe guys were, like, a freaking menace now. They were, like, just picked up a building. Just crushed it. Just tore it in half, just because. Why not? And I had to deal with, like, amped up versions of, like, all the mini-bosses I had to deal with. Which were quite tough, actually. Everything besides from that one snake tail that killed me. So I had to deal with the giant snake, the giant serpent again, and I didn't even know how they really got on land. Like, they're dead, I killed them. I don't know how they got there, including the giant axe guy. Which, as I said, just kind of tore apart buildings just for the fun of it. The snake was much longer and much faster. Like, I could outrun it, but barely. Like barely outrun him. And after taking them out, their blood did absolutely nothing. Like, the blood itself wasn't supercharged. Something else was. It was strange. And as I began to get closer to the cage, and, I pop into hell and out regularly, because the longer I'm in hell, the more damage I'll take. Which is never fun. It was one moment I'm in hell, and I get, like, dragged out of it. Like, something physically pulls me out. And I stumble on the ground. Again, was pulled. And I look in front of me to see a man. He looked like he was mumbling to himself, like, I couldn't really make out what he was saying. Then, Lord and behold, I hear Kaz's voice.
This is your last warning, Nathan. I've tried to be nice. I've tried to give you a chance to see reason. But if you take a step closer to that cage, I'm gonna have to step in the way for your safety and the safety of others.
Like, I guess this would come down to this. I take a moment to prepare myself, then I take a step forward.
Very well. Prove to me you're ready.
Anyways, boss fight time. The guy just standing there screamed out the words, "I accept," very loudly. His voice was kind of hard to, I guess, mimic. It was like very distorted. You could barely make out he said the words, "I accept." Then suddenly there was just a bright explosion of light. I turned to see the man. He has glowing white eyes, wings, and for some reason he's in a tuxedo. I don't know what the tuxedo was about, but God, he was menacing. Boss Kaz fight, one of the tougher fights. His attacks included swinging at me with his wings, which could deflect bullets, by the way. So I had to wait for the right opportunity to shoot at him. And demon bullets harmed him, but I don't think it could necessarily kill him. Well, if it could kill him, it's going to take quite a few shots. Anyways, the attacks also include summoning weird orbs of light. When they hit me, they didn't hurt me, they just blinded me temporarily. It made everything, I guess, backwards? It was weird, everything in itself was flipped on its head. Which was very strange, to say the least. The other attacks include summoning in, a wave of light stuff. Now, it never hit me because I just, teleport through it using my new upgraded dash ability. And I could get past his wings with my fire. Granted, it gave me, 2 seconds to make a shot. Goes 2 seconds, you gotta make them count. You gotta, shoot really fast with a shotgun. He had this other ability, where it started making it rain. And the rain didn't hurt me. It just, completely, numbed all of my abilities. All of them. None of them would work. So I'd have to, run into a building or something to not die, because, I'm barely dodging his attacks. Barely. He's, an inch away from my face, even with my abilities. So at some point, the fight just kind of went to a building, and then he just destroyed the building and had to run out of the building. Thankfully, his, rain attack takes him a while to charge up. So he couldn't just, do, multiple attacks all at once. Anyways, at some point he starts flying around, so now I have to, now he's up in the air. So it's gonna make it even harder to shoot him, and he was pretty good at dodging the fireballs, to say the least. So I couldn't just, hit him in, one of the wings to, get him to fall down. But could no longer use those wings to block him, so he moved around fast, but he was hittable. Anyways, his attacks while he was flying include charging into me, trying to punch me, trying to stab me. Again, very basic stuff. He could also, shoot out, I wouldn't call them feathers, they're more shards of light. That hurt a lot! It would burn my skin if I got too close to them. Which was interesting, to say the least. But even with all this, all the abilities, I was still able to knock him down. He falls down to the ground, and it looks like he was going to try something, but then decides to just sit down. I think he accepted the fact he lost. It was over. Kaz looks at me and goes,
Go ahead. Finish me. Take my power and end this. For the heavens and whatever else is beyond.
I look Kaz dead in the eyes and go, no. Just no. I'm not killing you. No, God, I've killed enough people. Okay, I don't need to add Kaz to my list. I actually did, regret killing some of the Sids, actually. Some of them were chill people. Wrath. Wrath was a chill dude. So, I couldn't bring myself to do it. Kaz kind of just sat there. Just kind of puzzled, I guess. I begin to make the rest of the walk. I couldn't really pop into hell, because whatever he did to me, made it so I couldn't just, pop into hell. He, did something to, the area. or something.
Wait, human. No, Nathan. Take this. It'll allow you to actually harm the devil.
He pulled out a little knife. It was made of a very shiny metal. And whenever I touch it, like me just like slightly like grazing it past like rock or something would cut it. Like it was like I don't know what it was made of, but it was made of something pretty solid to say the least. Then Kaz looks me dead in the eyes and goes,
Do not make those into bullets. Please. I only have one.
"Oh, okay." Then I leave him there. Like he would be fine. He's an angel. He'll be fine. I finally make it to the cage. So it all led up to this, and the cage wasn't even guarded. I guess they expected Cerberus to do that. And I get close to the cage and I like hear voices. I couldn't really make out anything. It sounded a lot like me. Here, I'll do my best to mimic it.
Finally, a warrior worthy of the keys.
That was all I could make out. The rest was just intelligible. I don't know what. It was some sort of language or something. I don't know. I put in all 6 keys, even though I should have 7. And the door opens. Then suddenly I'm just enveloped in darkness. Like everything's pitch black. Everything's just blank, I guess. Then you just have me traumatized floating through the void. Then I hear that voice again. This time it was much more readable.
Finally, someone opened the door. God, I've been here for like so long. I apologize for mimicking your voice slightly. I don't really have one to work with. Anyways, for freeing me, I shall grant you something. I don't know. What do you want?
You know that demon general, the weapon, to kill him?
Ah, yes, the general. What was his name again? I don't know, I forgot. He never says his name whenever you ask, for some reason. I think it was Shayla. Was that the general's name? I think it was Shayla. Don't call him that, he will try to end you.
Oh, okay. Can I have it?
Sure, I don't need it. Here you go.
Then suddenly there was this weird white sludge. It was just kind of moving around, and it kind of like attached itself to my gun, my pistol. Now it has a halo on it. And now it makes its own bullets. So I have like infinite ammo with this thing.
A word of advice. Don't use it until he's vulnerable. It ain't gonna do much.
Alright. Thanks for the advice, Satan, or Lucifer, whatever the frick I'm supposed to call you. Then suddenly in a flash of light, I'm back. The cage is just gone. Cerberus is just kind of just walks away. Like he's no longer needed here. I guess Cerberus is now retired. So you know what? That's fine. I begin to make my way out of hell, which was pretty easy. I just snapped and boom, I'm out. And I feel different. It was strange. Anyways, I finally make it back to the settlement. Nothing really stood in my way, honestly. Like, demons were no longer supercharged and they didn't want to deal with me. I don't know, it's concern of their own life, or if they just, I don't know, respected me or whatever. Anyways, I make it back to the settlement, and both demons and soldiers are now arguing. They're arguing on the best strategy. I don't remember what strategies they were going over exactly, but then I just kind of go in, let's do both! How about that? Anyways, the demons and soldiers say their final farewells. I shall do my best to mimic their voices.
Finally, you have the weapon. Let's go kill this guy, for the love of God. Full out assault. It'll be amazing.
No, we should try to sneak in. If this thing is really as powerful as they say, we should go in from behind.
I say we just do both. Demons, you charge, soldiers sneaking in through the back. And before they have a chance to argue, the portal starts opening. a lot. Like, it starts tearing through, like, the fabric of the earth in a time, I guess. I don't know. We have to go kind of, like, now-ish. Anyways, his castle, Shayla's castle, we're gonna call it, because it's a funny name. And it's huge. Like, it's bigger than all the other Sins' homes combined. It looks like a home compared to that castle. Anyways, there were spikes, miniguns, all sorts of things. Which, you know what? They'll just turn them off. Because why not? There were hell guards everywhere. And remember that hell guard guy that joined our team earlier? He knew a back way in. So there's now a giant war happening outside. And these soldiers and demons are actually fighting together, which was pretty cool to look at, actually. Anyways, I make it into his throne room. And there was just like a bunch of like weird radio things that just went in about a whole story about how demons deserve the earth more than humans. And they're right about some points, wrong about others. I think what I came to in the end is why can't we just share it? And I was like, I'll make sure that one happens. His throne room, if you can call it that, wasn't really much of a throne. It was just kind of cut in half. He looked like he had massive anger issues and just kind of tore up the entire room. There was weaponry, a forge, and just one last door between me and who knows what else. I stack up on ammunition. There was quite a few weapons in there, so I had more than enough demon bullets. And, I'm just staring at the knife. I'm like, And I could just hear, like, Kaz's voice in the back of my head just going,
"Do not smelt it down! For the love of God!"
I was like, okay, fine. I'll keep it as a melee weapon. I just throw out my old knife and just kind of equipped it. Surprisingly, I didn't have to get into a gunfight with the devil, which I'm not complaining with, to say the least. Anyways, I walk into the battle arena of his. I think he just, like, randomly takes demons out and just, like, beats the living snot out of them. I don't know what he was doing with it, but he was waiting for me. And, when I saw him, I was kind of underwhelmed. He looked like just another axe dude, honestly. Except his axe was, I guess, a mace axe thing. I don't know what his weapon was, to be honest. And he didn't really say anything. He was more like an animal, to be honest. He just, like, he growled, he was hissing. The fight begins. So, first, his attacks were just swing an axe at me, charge at me. Nothing I haven't really seen. It was, like, easy to dodge, like, underwhelmingly easy. Anyways, I took Satan's advice and not used the holy gun, the Halo gun, we'll call it. And he was kind of just weird at first. It was, like, kind of hard to explain. But then suddenly, his flesh kind of just started crashing in on itself. And then one moment, he's an axe dude, and the next moment, he's a giant snake. Just wrapping around the entire arena. I don't know. He can, like, transform or something. And now I have to deal with a giant snake. His attacks include trying to wrap around my face and try to squeeze me to death, which didn't work, because, fun fact, I could jump pretty high, actually. I could, like, I learned to, like, dash upwards, which was pretty interesting, to say the least. Anyways, I think I killed him at first. Like, the snake stops moving, but then suddenly something weird happens. Suddenly the battle arena turns into a cave, a very large cave, to say the least. Then rock starts forming around the head of the snake, and it kind of, like, crushes it. I see, like, blood coming out of it. I was like, what the frick? Then I see, kind of looks like a biblically accurate angel, except that wings were made of stone, and its eye was orangish, lava-ish color. The wings had all sorts of scratches on it. Like I didn't cause those scratches. I don't know what did. And some of those scratches were pretty deep. Some of those were, like, full of blown cracks. Like, how the wings stayed together is beyond me. Made of a weird black substance, and now that I think about it, it was everywhere on his castle. His castle walls were made of it. Now all of a sudden, I'm underground with this thing, and its attacks include shoving its wings at me, causing the cave to collapse in and on itself, so I had to run to another part of it to keep myself from being crushed. It shot, like, its rock wings at me, and they were tracking, so I had to, like, barely dodge out of the way to get it, like, slammed into a wall, which I actually like hurt the wings. I was like trying to damage them, but bullets weren't doing anything, and falling debris was working ish. I was trying to get it to reveal it's a weird orange I was talking about. It covered it. He covered it in stone. Then after I finally managed to get a shot on it, and first I think that did it. Its eye like just turns to black, but then it turns back on, and then one moment I'm in a cave, the next moment I'm in hell, and now it's forming like weapons. There's much more of this black weird brick here, and it's like trying to use anything it could think of, anything I could think of. It started mimicking my abilities. It now has the ability to charge. It has the ability to shoot fireballs, which it used very gradually. He really liked the fireballs. He can also now teleport and do that weird teleport dash thing, which was interesting to say the least. And its attacks include, shooting fireballs. It lit its wings on fire to shoot at me, which I assumed would do more damage. I don't know. It looked freaking terrifying to say the least. And it had another attack where it would just start spinning in on itself, and like everything would start getting would start being pulled in from an invisible force. It wasn't necessarily gravity or wind. I couldn't really explain it. I just had to like fight back against it using dashing at the right time. Then I managed to get like a dash on its skull, which cracked it significantly. So I just had to keep doing that. Then again, I get another free shot on it. It finally breaks open. Then again, this time his eye doesn't even turn off. It just kind of like falls backwards. Then next moment I'm in somewhere entirely different. There were pillars. It was really bright. There were clouds everywhere. I didn't know where I was, but the fight continued. I don't know why it brought me there, because it didn't have any controls over the clouds or anything. But, alright. Then the fight keeps going, and then I actually get hit. I get knocked into a cloud, which didn't really hurt all that much. But I was preparing another attack, but then I hear a very familiar voice scream,
Enough. And he proceeds to I proceed to chuck a spear into it and start attacking it.
I go, what the frick? Kaz, what took you so long? So now it's Kaz and me versus this Shayla, which we'll keep calling her because it's funny. Anyways, Castiel used a variety of attacks to help me out, including shooting its weird wing things at it. Weird light shards or whatever. I think Kaz was still a little roughed up from the fight with me, because he didn't get close, which I don't blame him. That thing was terrifying. But then, once again, he stamps me right back into the battle arena. I guess he wanted to finish it there. Anyways, the soldiers and demons end up coming in, and they couldn't get close because of the walls, but they just started firing at the thing. Which, you know what? Enough bullet force trauma will crack any shell. And Grid was there too, just kind of watching. And, of course, handing out business flyers. Anyways, shells were revealed, and I took the shot. And this time it didn't go off, it cracked. In fact, it just started collapsing on itself, and there was just this weird orb. Then boom, I'm in somewhere totally new. It was weird. It was like time itself, along with reality, which is forming in on itself, creating the time of existence to the end. Big Bang to the end, to say the least. Now I'm fighting this thing through, like, time? But it wasn't really a fight. I think it was just trying to, like, I don't know. I guess it was trying to just say why it's right. It showed me a bunch of crap humans did, and my only response was, if you highlight everything's bad, all the bad moments, it's gonna look horrible. Then I took the final shot. Then it cracked. Then it smoldered and vanished. Then another bright flash of light. Everything's back to normal. I'm outside of the weird castle place. A good while away. I could still see the city, but it's gonna take me a minute to walk. I look at the Halo gun, and I just bury it, honestly. Because I don't need it. And, well, right now, I may need it later. And I could see the demonic rift. It, like, moved, and it was more calm. I think is the word I'm looking for. It wasn't constantly opening. I could let out like pretty reasonable demons in and out. I ditched my shotgun and all my other weapons because I don't need them. Honestly, the fight's over. It's been over for a bit now, actually. I was just kind of taking a minute to sit on the grass, feel the breeze of the wind. I get up and I turn to see Castiel, and before he has a chance to say anything, I wake up. And I usually, when I wake up from like dreams, I'm usually pretty rattled. I mean, can you blame me? They are quite something. But this time I was a bit more calm. This time I wasn't in a cold sweat. I get up, I look myself in the mirror, and you know all I see? I just see me. No horns, not some red eye, no blood on my clothes, no weaponry, just me. And you know what? That's fine. Anyways, before I go, I'd like to say a few things. I would like to first thank the few that watched this series. It was a blast to make. I had one hell of a time, to say the least. And I would like to also talk about what I plan to do with this moving forward. I would actually like to start doing Reddit videos at some point, which would be fun. And more or less, I would like to continue to my usual videos. It's going to be a while before I do another series like this. And I'm Nathan. I've been your host, and this has been one hell of a series. You've been one hell of an audience. And I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.